the most interesting man in the world. You remember the old commercial, Stay Thirsty, my friends? Trump has to be the most interesting man in the world. And I wanted to come rap to you folks in between my assignments while I'm out here on my day job. Just now, many of you may have seen Trump give a press conference earlier today addressing the awful plane crash in Washington, D.C. 64 passengers and crew on the aircraft, 3 on the helicopter, the Black Hawk helicopter they collided with. Everybody's dead. Not one person survived. So we're talking 67 people. They're still pulling bodies out of the Potomac. So they haven't recovered all of the deceased, but they're fairly certain nobody survived. Trump addresses the nation, speaks from a standpoint of unity, talking about perhaps they're in a better place and things like that. And, you know, it is an awful crash. There's no denying that. But then he goes right into attacking the liberals, suggesting that this may have been a product of DEI. Now, he's criticized Obama, criticized Biden, and DEI policies, while folks are still mourning. They're still pulling bodies out of the river, and he's addressing this whole event by criticizing, you know, Obama, Biden, and DEI policies. Now, I know MAGA doesn't have a problem with his criticism. I get it. But you notice after any school shooting, when the liberals start talking about guns and all that, everybody always says it's too soon to be discussing this. They're still pulling, people haven't even gotten their loved ones' remains back. So let me know in the comments, you think he did a good job with this? In addition to that, generally for liability's sake, you want to get the investigation going and let some details come out before really asserting blame or coming to conclusions. He blamed the helicopter pilot. Like I said, he's talking about DEI policies. My guess is either the air traffic control officer that was on the radio or the helicopter pilot is likely a person of color. Because we know when you hear the term DEI, it's rarely in reference to some white male. It's usually either a person of color or occasionally a woman. And he brought DEI up extensively in this conversation. Now, anytime there's a cataclysm like what we had today with this plane crash, and a person of color or a woman is involved, that doesn't automatically mean they were a DEI hire. There are plenty of blacks, Hispanics, and women that just fuck up at the job they are at. That don't mean they weren't qualified to get it. So I don't know why DEI came up in this, but he is indeed suggesting that DEI may have had something to do with the plane crash. I don't know. I mean, I hate to bring up race, but that's what DEI is all about. I'm going to assume that white males screw up at their jobs occasionally. Do you just assume that they are DEI hires? I don't know why we go on TV while folks are still suffering and bring this, but he did. So I'd like to hear from you folks. What do you think? You think that maybe what he did is a good idea? Talk to the people, let folks know how you feel. You got talking heads all over cable news outlets because he's describing altitude and what a helicopter can do. People are like, you don't know what, you're not a helicopter pilot, but let me know if you enjoy that type of transparency. Maybe you don't find anything wrong with him on television attacking Obama and Biden and DEI. Let me know what you think. Or perhaps you want to deflect to a time when maybe Biden or Obama did something similar, because that generally is what we get. If you point out something Trump did that may be questionable, Trump supporters will then point out something somebody else did in the past, I guess to defend Trump or to deflect what he's done. So we'll talk about it. Here's another one I found very interesting. Now, some of you folks are aware, Matthew Hussle. He's an individual that was pardoned by President Trump for his participation on January 6th. 42 years of age. He was shot and killed by police over in Hobart, Indiana. Now, he was an habitual offender, been involved in all sorts of car accidents. He was wanted for 4 other cases at the time of his death. Well, there's another one. I hate to say it, but there's another one. Emily Hernandez, 25 years of age, was sentenced to 10 years in prison today. Turns out a year after her January 6th participation, and she's the one you see holding up the piece of Nancy Pelosi's sign that she ripped off the wall in the Capitol building. So she's inside the building. She's committing acts of destruction of property and recording herself doing it. Wow. But she is that person. She got 10 years in prison a little bit after a year after what she did on January 6th. So we're talking February of 2022. Driving while intoxicated, twice over the legal limit. She actually killed another driver, killed a 32-year-old wife, and crippled the husband that was in the car at the same time. So she did kill somebody. Now, we can talk about bad hombres. This is only a couple days after the Lincoln-Riley Act was passed. People who committed an awful crime was let out by liberal judges, the liberal system, and then they go on and commit another crime. Well, these folks that are pardoned on January 6th fits the same definition. Trump pardoned them, and they don't went on to hurt other people. So I do want to bring it up just for the simple fact that the right you're not going to get this on Fox. Fox News is not going to discuss this at all. There's no denying that he pardoned a couple bad hombres. What makes both of these folks controversial pardons is they had a lengthy criminal history outside of January 6th at the time Trump pardoned them. Because a lot of folks criticize how the liberals handled this, suggesting that January 6th folks got way too much time in jail, over sentenced, it was a witch hunt. Well, these folks already had prior felonies on their record, so I don't know how much time Emily Hernandez or Matthew Hutto, the other guy that was shot and killed by police, I don't know how much time they got in regards to January 6th, but they both were free, I believe, before Trump pardoned them already. And both of them got a lengthy criminal history. We can talk about some liberals or whatever we want to bring up to deflect from this, but that doesn't mean this didn't happen. 10 years in prison for driving drunk and killing someone and crippling another person. These are people that are, 32 years of age is Victoria Wilson, the person she killed. So that's somebody who had their whole future ahead of them that is killed, that might not have been done so if Trump had not have pardoned this person. They certainly should not have been driving. We'll just say that. They certainly should not have been driving. Anyway, let me know what you think. Is it wrong to even bring this up? Because we can talk about liberals that have let people go that should have been in jail also. Should we deflect to that and say that, well, Trump should get a pass because liberals have done it too? Let me know in the comments what you think. As always, feel free to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.